In business, as fuel queues persist with varying pump prices in different fuel stations, there are fears that Nigeria may be close to a subsidy removal regime that had earlier been promised by June 2023. While the removal of the subsidies may be cost-effective for government spending, it may also mean hardship for the common man in the country. News Central's Adesewa Odusoga reports.
By paying the difference between the landing cost of refined goods and the pump prices on the local market, the government uses the fuel subsidy scheme to mitigate the effect of high oil prices on the international market, among other things. In Nigeria, fuel subsidies have been the subject of controversy for several reasons that include a huge financial burden, costing the government billions of dollars each year, and raising sustainability concerns. Let's hear from Nigerians. What is their opinion about the final removal of subsidy? As these, have sprouted several protests in the past, as far back as 2012.
Even though it will be higher price, because the way they are doing us now, you go to filling stations, on filling stations we will spend almost 1 hour, 2 hours. At least, even though they are going to remove it, so they should allow individual to be selling any price they want.
Even if he's buying at a higher price, the fact that he knows that, okay, XYZ persons are not benefiting from what ought to come to him. Let them repair all the refinery in Nigeria. When they repair all the refinery in Nigeria, you understand me? All this subsidy issue or no subsidy issue will not come up again.
Where does the government draw the line?
If a lot of money goes into it, such money could also be used for other developmental projects, roads, provision of electricity. And you find out that from time to time, government is complaining. They're looking at the fact that, well, we are borrowing, we are increasing our debt profile on every side. And so these are not the times in which we want to keep infusing funds in the subsidy of petrol.
Let's chat about this. We are joined by Adesewa Dawudu, Head of Africa Coverage at Bank Trust and Co. Good evening to you, Ayo.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Great. Now, the federal government is proposing a subsidy removal by June 2023, and then a long-time controversy between the government and the citizens. Now, what should we expect? What will pump price look like?
Well, it's a bit tricky to say because, there are two main drivers of petroleum prices, PMS locally, that's oil price and then the exchange rate. If you look at it today, if subsidy was to be removed, you're looking at pump prices probably close to about 500 naira per litre, which is, I guess, in excess of 3 times what we're paying now. But with that being said, will the government totally remove subsidy? That's a question mark. I believe remains to be seen because of the significant impact it would have on consumer spending, inflation, and the likes.
I want to find out, when subsidies are removed, there's often an outcry from the citizens about the effect on their spending. But it also means that the government gets to spend less on petroleum products. How do we draw the balance?
So I think there's a level of trust that's not quite there between the citizens and the government. So if you take, for example, the removal of subsidy, yes, there's potential savings there. If you look at the budgets for 2023, for the first 6 months, subsidy has been budgeted for about 3 trillion naira at the very least. That's funding that could go towards infrastructure development such as roads, power, and the likes. But does the population trust the government to utilize those funds effectively and efficiently? I would probably say no, which is probably why there are some people that still prefer to have subsidy in place where, they can see the direct benefits of government revenues in their own consumption and their own livelihoods, rather than it goes into the budgets and capital expenditure is not deployed as it's supposed to be.
I appreciate your time with us, but that's all we would have time for. Thank you so much.
Thank you.